So, good morning. We're going to look at the creation of woman in chapter 2 of Genesis. It's very interesting. It's actually rather revealing. Okay, first of all, I'd point out that she is to be a suitable helper. She's to be matching and capable. Okay. So often when you talk about the relationship between man and woman, immediately people think of their negative experiences in what is now a fallen and sinful world. Okay. We talk about authority here, and people often think of the negative connotations of somebody who's a control freak and domineering rather than, actually caring. And it's very interesting here when we talk about a woman being a suitable, helper who's capable to support her man. Often people say, "Oh, so she's got to be second fiddle." Oh, so she and people get a little bit narcified about it. And I really do think that shouldn't be the case. It's the case that this is very, very favourable in its view of women. That they are to complement a man because a woman offers what a man cannot. Okay, and so therefore it takes two to make a family because, it's the two different characters that actually work together perfectly. It's the case that actually there should be a symbiotic relationship, if I can say that, a harmony where they work together. And if everyone's the same, then actually you don't get that. You have no harmony. If two people, for example, are in charge, then how can you have a team that works? And it's one of those things that we need to recognize. Sadly, with equality in the modern age, often it's the case that women, to be equal to men, often try to be like men. And I think, well, why? If women are equal to men, then surely they can be a woman to be equal. Okay, so a woman doesn't have to lose her femininity and become masculine in order to be equal to men. She, in fact, needs to become more feminine to show that women are equal. And I think that's an interesting philosophical point, psychologically, that women who try to be like men, to be equal to men, actually admit that the men are superior. That's what they're saying. Because if men aren't superior, why do they want to be like them? It's obviously like, okay, they are superior, if that's what they're saying. Now, I'm not saying that they're superior, and I'm not saying that they should be. What I'm saying is that's what their body language and their actions actually speak louder than words are really saying. Okay? So don't try to be the same in order to be equal. In fact, the team works best when we're different so that we can work in different ways to help. Okay? Now, what's interesting also is the actual details of this creation, because as we've seen in 2:19, then the animals are formed from the dust. Adam has been brought from the dust from 2:7, but woman is not. Where Eve is actually built from a rib, literally built from a rib that is taken from Adam. Okay, she's not actually made from the dust. And I think that this is important because there's a sense in which Adam is the source of woman, that woman is drawn from Adam, that actually this is very important. It shows that they're close relationship. They're not being built independently. They've been built one from another. And I think that's very important. It's interesting, of course, because, nowadays with equality and women's rights, there are many people who rail against it, even within Christianity and Bible-believing societies, whereby women are trying to be equal or even in charge of other men. And they often say, oh, that's because of the fall, that's only come about because of the fall. And actually that's not true, because it's actually this creative act that is the basis of the reason in 1 Timothy, okay, that actually woman was created from man. And that's before the fall. This is God's perfect order. And the church should reflect God's perfect order, because that's part of his character. Okay. Also, of course, the flip side of this is that there's a responsibility that's then put on the man, that he is to care for and protect. And, as it says in Ephesians 5, that a man should lay down his life for his wife. Okay. It is the case amongst very chauvinistic or male-dominated societies, and they want to preach from this, as they've become Christians. They preach about the submission, wives submit to your husbands, wives submit to your husbands, and they love that verse. They very rarely preach on this verse, men, lay down your lives for your women. There's this case that actually the responsibility is upon men, and it doesn't. You can't have privilege without responsibility. That it comes at a price. If you want to be in charge, if you want to be in authority, if you want to be the leader of the family or of the community, then you have to have responsibility. And that means that actually you have to sacrifice yourself when those under your protection are threatened. Okay, so it's not a free ride. Oh, I've got everything my way. No, you haven't. You need to lead from the front, and that includes the front line. Okay, I think that these things are very interesting, and of course there's far more I could say about that, but we need to move on. Okay, I'd also point out that he made Adam and Eve, and so there's a pattern here which is God's ideal, which is one man and one woman for life. Okay, you may cite examples in the Old Testament of polygamy, where such as David had many wives, but that wasn't God's ideal. And Jesus brought things back to Genesis, and it was to these passages that he referred. In the beginning, the Creator made them male and female, and this is the perfect pattern for the family unit. And I think that that's something that is sometimes just swept aside. So many people don't really regard the Old Testament. They just think they can read the New Testament. And actually, if you don't read the Old Testament, you won't understand what the New Testament is all about, because the Old Testament is the foundation. And it's from the Old Testament that the New Testament readings and teachings are all based. They're drawn from the Old Testament, and they have their roots in it. And so this is why I think it's so important to go through Genesis and look at these things. Amen. All right, okay, so that's all I want to say about the creation there. I'm actually going to follow this up with a number of teachings with some evidence, fossils and such like, about creation that prove that the earth is young, and to make people think about the evolutionary theory that is just put to them as if it's a fact. All right, so please stay with me for the next video, and please just click on the link, and I'll see you in the next one.